Okay. Now actually we have come to end of the lesson. So after doing this, I will next week or week after next week we can have our term text. I hope that school one is already there. So we started a little later, so we are going to have our term text next. And so the last lesson, the last part is about. So this one we discuss how to create a hydrometer to measure the what you call the humidity. Humidity. So we just learn how to create that using human hair, right? Just using hair, we can create a hygrometer because the length of hair will be changed. So length of the hair will be changed based on the humidity of the atmosphere. So using that property, because when length is changing, the index here, this is a lengthy stripe. So this lengthy stripe is changing its angle based on the length of this. So let's say this is shorter. When this becomes little shorter, this will move up. When this becomes little longer, it will move down. Using that, we can create a scale there. So this, if you take a long strip, then you can even measure small changes of humidity, right? So based on the humidity, like different, like you can synthetical or you can artificially change the humidity by spraying some liquid, spraying water, or you can let it happen just by keeping it exposed to the environment. Okay, the next thing is natural disasters. Every day, due to this climate changes and with the different weather or aggressive weather sometimes, so there are natural disasters happening all around the world. So for an example, so we face like few years back, not few years, so it was long ago, but I can still remember when I was like in school that time, we faced something called tsunami. So that is aggressive condition happened in ocean due to an earthquake. So recently also, if you watch news, you may heard of in Indonesia, there was an earthquake happen. And so these are some disasters, natural disasters. But related to the weather changes also, these are happening. So one is cyclones. Cyclones are, so these are common. We also face, but not that much aggressive, but some countries are facing aggressive cyclones. So here, actually, you can just watch, there is a website here, this is called actually weather map. So this, you can look live weather using this weather map. You can watch this live. I said that my connection speed is not so good. Here you can see zoom.earth is one thing, and there are many. So map worldwide online.com, world weather map, interactive weather map in with world weather online. And you can just visit these websites and see. And AccuWeather, I said this last week also, AccuWeather is another source. Actually, before it comes, we can see how it moves. So due to this technological availability, earlier days, it was not possible to so it was possible to predict. Predictions were there, but it was not possible to exactly estimate. There was an approximation, but now actually due to this live satellite imaging and all, because of the emerging technologies, so it is possible to monitor this even live. So when I was there yes, I was there in Singapore last month. In actually, there were some like aggressive conditions, not cyclones, but like nearly some, but kind of aggressive. So what they people used to see the mobile phone. Actually, they know when it starts and when it stops. So because everything updated in their map clearly with the proper estimation, everything updated. So they can just tell, okay, by looking at the mobile phone in the weather map. So they said, okay, within 2 hours the rain will stop. within 2 hours rain will stop. And so they have planned their work according to that, right? Because of the technology. So let me show this if it is loading. Okay, this is actually related to not related to Sri Lanka, but let me zoom out and you can see. So let's move to our country. Let's see the situation there. Okay, you can see. You can see the situation. We are not facing anything aggressive for the moment. So this is, you can see these are different status, the different colors, and here. So this is in, when you click, you can see the weather condition there, whether it's rainy or the wind, like here, the wind, and also the temperature, the situation, and the rain in millimeters. Yes, you can just see that here in Medan. So let's see. You can see rain in millimeter is a bit higher than the normal. So likewise, you can watch. So different zones are facing different. But I think this map is like quite clear today. It's not much aggressive around the world. Next map is somewhat clear.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, okay.
Sir, I have made the rain cake, sir.
You have made?
The rain cake.
Ah, have you? So didn't you send it to me?
Sir, I have sent some pictures, sir, I think.
Oh, I can see something wrong maybe. So wait. Ah, yes. I saw it. Yes, right. So I think you measured it during that week, but so actually, have you really measured it? It was a lot of rain, right? I saw that. Yes, you have collected lot of rainwater there. නේද ගොඩක් වැසද? එච්චර සැරට?
No, sir, there wasn't a rainy season, so I test that whether it is working.
Right. Okay. Right. Anyway, so then, so you can see here, this is a satellite picture of a cyclone, how it happened. It is like a fast wind because of the pressure. This happens because of the pressure. When so normally this happen in the Bengal Bay. We know the Hamadama Bengala Bokke our path actually, right? Normally here. So most of the cyclones of our country originate in Bay of Bengal. Why? So when there is a vacuum, like our path actually. So it is basically less pressure. When pressure is not there, when pressure is not reduced, so then the wind will come from everywhere to fill that pressure. So when there's a vacuum kind of thing, so අපි හිතමු මෙතන vacuum එකක් හිස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ ඇත්තටම. That is basically a reduction of pressure, not empty, not a vacuum, but when it happens, the air flowing from everywhere, the wind coming from everywhere to fill that. So as a result, then what will happen? As a result, a cyclone may occur, right? So normally, Okay, another thing is, as a result of that, another thing that can happen in weather is flood. Right, another thing that can happen in weather is flood. Flood is a situation where the rainwater is not properly, right? Rainwater is not properly distributed, or rainwater is not properly move into the whatever these rivers and other reservoirs, etc. When it is blocked, or when it is maybe filled, or when it is blocked, or when there is no way of flowing, so it will what will happen? The nearby places will be flooded. So that is a kind of aggressive weather again that we can see. Okay, then due to flood, actually even the lives can lost. So that is a situation normally. So I was in another country, so where this flooding is more common. So that is Bangladesh. So why? Because there are a lot of rivers in Bangladesh, right? Bangladesh. So normally number of rivers are really high. If you saw in a map, you can see it's a lot of rivers here. And it's going through the country, main city. So therefore, they are basically the facing flood. So you may think like even Sri Lanka will get more than this, but here actually, so if you see this in this map, you can see there are a lot of branches. Let's see. So main rivers are less, but there are a lot of branches, and due to that, so there are some floods. Right. So river flooding is basically when a river cannot tolerate, right? So when a river cannot tolerate its capacity, it will exceed the capacity, especially when this cyclones, the aggressive condition happens, it might exceed its current capacity. That can also be a reason for flooding. Right? That can also be a reason for flooding. You can see the everywhere is flooded. India, Sri Lanka, Nepal. So these countries basically facing these things regularly because of the rivers, and so a lot of water sources are there. Then actually here, so another thing is drought. So certain area get less than 75% expected rainfall at a time. The period you get dry. That is basically a dry weather, extremely dry weather condition may occur in that area. So that is basically in Sri Lanka also there are climate zones. So I think some subjects you might have learned this: dry zone, wet zone, intermediate zone, arid zone. So these are some zones. Dry zone is basically not getting enough rain. In dry zone, it's really dry. If you visit Anuradhapura area, if you visit Trincomalee area, it belongs to dry zone. You can feel it. The weather is basically hot. No, most of the time, so we feel really tired and hot. And even the plants are adapted to this dry zone. Plants are adapted to this dry situation. But in the wet zone, there is the rivers. You can see the most of the time it's showering. So most of the, especially if you are in these areas like Kegol, so Sabaragamo province, and if you are in this Ratnapura area, so most of the time, so there is a high possibility to get experience a shower. So there are frequent rains. You can see it's not this corner, it's not this area, it's in the middle. So Kandy, Nuwara. So you can see here this Singaraj area, Ratnapura, Kegol. These areas are frequently facing this. But if you see this area, Trincomalee, Baticala or Trincomalee, even Jaffna, this belongs to dry zone. And arid zone is something like, so here in Puttalam, in here, Chilao, this area. So these are arid zones. So what is arid zone? Arid. Single මොකක්ද කියන්නේ මේකට? Wet zone. Really කලාපය කියනවා dry zone එක. Wet zone කියන්නේ තෙත කලාපය. Intermediate zone. අතරමැදි කලාපය. Arid zone කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Yes. I think you heard of. Yes. No. Yes. Come on. I think you have heard of. මතක නැතුව තියෙන ශිෂ්‍යත්වයක් තියෙනවා. Yes. What it calls. Have you heard of like something called Shushka Kalapaya? Shushka. So it is even more dry. Right? This, you know, this most of these areas you can see these there are places produce salt. The reason is it is extremely dry, but not deserts. Right? In Sri Lanka, we cannot see deserts anyway. Luckily, unluckily. So, but these areas like Hambantota area and this area like Mana, so these areas are highly dry. So we call arid zone in Sinhala Shushka Kalapa. Shushka Kalapa කියන්නේ ගොඩක්ම වේලි. වියලි කලාපයටත් වැඩිය වියලි. එහෙනම් so most of these plants are adapted to this arid zone situation. So have you seen this kind of plants? Arid zone plants. So these plants are specially adapted to this climate and weather. So normally, so this patok like thing, you know, patok wage තියෙන අර කටු වෙලා තියෙන. හරි මේ ඇත්තටම මේ arid zones කියලා කිව්ව ලංකාවේ arid zone එකත් එච්චරම arid නෑ. But if you think like if you take another country, there are some arid zone plants. These plants are basically, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Or not? Seems you can't. Sanogi? Hello? Tisandi? Right. What I was telling about this arid zone is basically, it is exceeding the dry zone situation. Even the plants are adapted. So plants are having this, you can see here. So these are, so sometimes we used to culture this, we used to use these plants as a indoor decorative plants, but it's not that these plants are actually adapted to the arid zone. It actually, in extremely dry areas, these plants can be seen. Why there are this kind of, even this you can see, why there are this kind of situation? Because they have adapted to protect the, you know, we so can you remember we have learned about transpiration? What is transpiration in Sinhala?
Yes, sir.
Sorry? Repeat it.
උත්වේදනය.
උත්වේදනය. Transpiration කියන උත්වේදනය කියන්නේ ගහේ පත්‍ර වලින් කොළ වලින් ජලය වාෂ්ප වෙනවා. එතකොට මුල් වලින් ඇදලා ගන්න ජලය කොළ වලින් වාෂ්ප වෙලා යනවා. So actually to adapt, so because if transpiration is high, especially this plant is in arid zone and transpiration is high, So there is a higher tendency to the plant to die. Why? So it can become really dry, and then, so because of the dry situation, it cannot transport its water, and it cannot transport food even, and or it's not produced to possible to produce food using photosynthesis. All these processes will be slowed down and stop ultimately, and the plant will die. So stop that. So these leaves are adapted to face this arid zone situation, because you have less amount of water, right? To protect that water, so you can see these leaves are specially adapted. Leaves are like needles. Leaves are like needles, and stem is it's flesh. Right? අපි කියන මාංශල කඳවල කියලා. නිකන් කඳවල මහත් වෙලා මේ කොළ මොකද වෙලා? කොළ තමයි මේ කූරු කූරු තියෙන්නේ. මේ කටු නෙමෙයි කොළ. ඒකේ තියෙන කොළ ටික තමයි මේ කූරු කූරු තියෙන්නේ. අර කඳ මහත් වෙලා වතුර තියාගන්න කොළ කූරු කූරු වෙලා වාෂ්ප වෙන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. It's protecting its protecting water inside. That's what happening in this arid zone plants. Okay, so we discuss about now the four climate zones, and we just discuss about cyclones, flood, and a drought situation where the extreme dry conditions can be there. So these are some situations that we face. And here you can see an occasion of a drought, but this is rarely happen in Sri Lanka because we are lucky to have frequent rains, even in the dry zone. It's happening, but rarely in the dry zone also they face. Sometimes in this Batikalo area, people are facing this kind of drought situation where, so in Anuradhapura area even, but anyway, not for a long time, for a short time, due to lack of water. Due to lack of water, this can happen. And landslide. Landslide is also, it can also happen due to situation in earth, or it can happen due to rain even. That is also a natural disaster, right? It can, but that's why I said it can happen due to rain, and it can happen due to human activities too. Why? In some areas, so especially in your area, so where in Bandaravila, Nuwareli area, people used to cut trees in the mountains. Then what will happen? You are getting frequent rains. So when the mountains, when the trees are not there, so this root system and their shoot system, which protected the soil in these mountains, can no longer be protected because they are exposed to the direct rain. They are exposed to direct rain. එක පාටම වැස්ස වැටෙනවා නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගස් එහෙම තිබ්බම ගස් තිබ්බම මොකද වෙන්නේ මුල් වලින් ඒ පස අල්ලගෙන ඉන්නවා නේද මුල් වලින් පස් අල්ලගෙන ඉන්නවා එතකොට ගස් වලින් එකපාරම වතුර වැටෙන්නේ නැහැ පොළවේ තෙතමනේ පොළව ශක්තිමත් පොළව මුල් වලින් හොඳට බැඳලා තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා ඒ මොකුත් නැහැ ගස් නැතිකොට because in normally in hill country this has happened. No? Most of the places people are using this mount because they don't have, so you don't have any flatlands. No, rarely we have like flatlands in hill country. Hill country කියන්නේ ඒකනේ නේද? එතකොට කඳු තමයි වැඩිපුර. flatlands අඩුයි. flatlands අඩුයි කියන්නේ කඳු සුද්ධ කරලා තමයි වවන්නේ මිනිස්සු. එතකොට කඳු සුද්ධ කරලා වැවුවම තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ කඳු වලට මේ වතුර වැටෙන කාලේ වතුර වැටුනම ඒවා slide වෙලා යන්න පුළුවන් ඉස්සලා යන්න පුළුවන්. So there are frequent slides in hill country due to aggressive rain and rainy days. So normally it happens every day, right? At least small landslide will be there. Actually, result is not just the weather. Result is due to human activities too. Okay, so then, so these are the things for different conditions, and other than that, there are some other natural scenarios like earthquakes. So then, volcanoes. Have you seen volcano? Really, in your naked eye, have you seen?
Also, because there are volcanoes in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, not volcanoes in Sri Lanka, but if you visit a country like Indonesia, you can see some volcanoes. Right. So earlier days it was possible to visit because no need to have visa. If you have passport, you can go there. But now I think yes, now I think you need to get visa. But earlier days without having visa, even you can go. You could go there. I have visited a place like Indonesia. There is a volcano. Indonesia. Let me show it to you. Actually, I went 4 years back. Therefore, I don't have pictures with me. I took some, but still, it's difficult to show. Difficult to find that volcanoes. This one. Right. This is what I have seen. So. Right. So actually, I have seen like erupted one. So after the eruption, not active volcano. After the eruption, again, active volcanoes කියලා කියන්නේ ඒ වෙලාවේ ලාවා එනේවා. ඒ වෙලාවේ ලාවා ගලමින් පවතිනවා. එහෙම දැකලා නැහැ. එහෙම නැතුව දැකලා තියෙනවා මේ eruption එක උනාට පස්සේ eruption උනාට පස්සේ ලාවා ගලලා තියෙනේවා දැකලා තියෙනවා. black color මෙහෙම ලාවා මේවා වෙලා කළු පාට වෙලා එහෙම තියෙනේවා දැකලා තියෙනවා. So some volcanoes are there in ocean also. Right? Sometimes these volcanoes are there in ocean too. Right? So some islands are having volcanoes, but Sri Lanka you cannot see them, but it can be seen some other places. So have you seen the world's remotest island? World's remotest. This is the place, right? It is really away from many people, but it is inhabited. There are people. So actually this island, so I cannot remember the here this one. I think the name is Tristan da Cunha. So this is the place. There is a this is the world's it's considered to be the world's remotest island. Really away from no vehicles, but you can see that island is basically having a volcano there. But there are some people living. Few families are living there. But it's having now it's inactive. Here this one, I think. You can see they are really away from Africa, they are away from America, they are in the middle of the ocean and in Atlantic Ocean. So, but there are people living, but the thing is there is a volcano in that island. Okay, just showing some other climate conditions. So volcano is another one, and tsunamis happening due to earthquakes happening in the Earth's surface. Those are some other climate and weather conditions that we can see. Okay, I think yes. Right, I think with that we have covered everything. So I would like to ask one question from you, not one question. Do you have any doubts in these lessons which I need to revise again before the examination? So if so, I can spend time on that too. So these are the lessons that we have learned. Wonders of the living world. That is the first. That was the first lesson that we have learned. And so there we discuss about the organisms. So different kind of organisms like animals, plants, and also microorganisms which you cannot see in your naked eye. We have to use a microscope to watch that organisms. These are really tiny, but we can see them using naked eye as a true, but as an individual we cannot see. For example, fungi, we can see fungi in bread, but that is due to their fungi colony or the large amount of fungi are there. But the thing is a single unit you cannot clearly see using naked eye, you have to use a microscope. The organisms which are observed through microscope or organisms which cannot be seen using naked eye are called microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, algae like things. Then we learn about the things around of us, matter and energy. We learn that matter cannot be destroyed, energy cannot be destroyed, and matter cannot be created, energy cannot be created, but the thing is, can be converted to one another, can be converted to other formats. And then we learn about the solids, liquids, and gases, and we learn about the water cycle. Then there we learn about how water forms, how water maintains different status, and there we learn about the precipitation, condensation, evaporation, transpiration, like processes. And after that, we just discuss about energy in day-to-day life. Unlike matter, which you can see and which takes space, energy is something different, which we can still need to do things, because energy is energizing these activities day-to-day life. It provides the facility to do some activities, and actually even natural activities. Light and vision, and how we can see what are the different light sources, what is light ray, what is light beam. So we just learn about that. And we just learn about how the light is transmitted through different objects. Some are blocking the light, some are semi, some are transparent. Sound and hearing. Learn about the sounds and noises and how hearing happen. So what is the diversity? And we learn about the noise, voice, and music. So what are unplanned or what are planned? Then about the magnets and electromagnets and their properties and the behaviors and how to create a compass and how to mark poles. Electricity, one of the essential thing, most essential thing in the life. So day to day, that is also a form of energy. We learn about how we can convert electricity to different forms of other energy like light and heat. And then heat is another thing that we discuss under the energy. And finally, so we discuss about food and their interactions, food webs, food chains, and how plants are autotrophic, how they are producing their own food, and then how animals and plants are depends on other food sources. We just discuss about that. And finally, we just discuss about weather and climate, short-term changes of short-term changes and the long-term changes, and different natural disasters which can occur. So that is about your syllabus. It's not a big one. It's easy when you see at whole. But the thing is, we have learned many facts in we need many facts inside these topics. So if you want to look at that back before the exam, my advice is please go through the videos, watch them again one more time. If you have any question, direct that to the WhatsApp or WhatsApp group, then I can reply. Okay.
Okay,
Is your term, yes, is your term finished in the school or not? Only second term?
only second term.
Only second term, right? Okay, doesn't matter, right? We are finishing a little earlier. And my plan is to start grade 7 in December, because last time we just delayed. Grade 7, let's start in December. And so let's have a slow start in December. January, we can have the official start. So if you have friends, please let them know. Then in the November, we'll have the exam and finish it, right? So I'll announce the date. Maybe in the next week. I'll announce earlier, don't worry. If I'm not announcing that in the early stage, then I will postpone it to week after next week. Okay, then if you have any question during that time, please forward me. Even the practical problems I can ask, right? Then see you after the examination. Good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye.